Hi, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be talking about how all these swing state polls are going in the wrong direction for Donald Trump, with just 5 days left until the election. We are just 5 days away from November 5th, 2024, Election Day. Very exciting, very exciting. But anyways, there are some swing state polling that recently is now going in the wrong direction for Donald Trump. I have 538 up here. We talked yesterday how Donald Trump has lost the lead in Michigan on the Weird Clear Politics average, and Kamala Harris is almost up by half a point. Now, that's really not much, but still, it is not good for Trump and his campaign to be not be leading in the Michigan Real Clear Politics average anymore, as he previously was only a couple weeks ago, and now he is no longer leading. Anyways, looking at 538 here, we see that Nevada is even, Pennsylvania is even, despite the early voting average, or the early voting data, the Democrats are doing very well with, and it's why I believe they will win Pennsylvania, or Kamala Harris will win Pennsylvania. Despite all that, Pennsylvania really, in the polls, Kamala Harris really hasn't been doing that well, as you can see in the Pennsylvania. She's doing it's pretty even on 538, but she's doing even worse on Real Clear Politics, which I'll show you in a minute. You could see Kamala Harris had a lead, even 2 points. I believe I saw 2 points. Where was that? 2 points right here, August 14th, 1 point lead, and that shrunk until Donald Trump took the lead October 20th. So that was about a week ago, almost 2 weeks ago. Donald Trump took the lead, and ever since then, he has been barely leading, but he's still leading. He's leading by a small margin, almost half a point, so not good for Kamala Harris when it comes to these polls. Not good news for her at all, although if you look at the early voting for Pennsylvania, where's this map is? Okay, so here it is. The early voting lead in Pennsylvania has been very good for Democrats. 58% registered voters are Democrats. 32% are Republicans when it comes to the mail-in and early in-person votes cast. And there's already, it looks like there's already 3 million people, possibly more, that's voted in Pennsylvania. I don't think it shows like the total, but you have 1.6 million people who have voted mail-in and early in-person votes cast, and 2.1 million mail-in ballots requested. And the numbers here are very good for the Democrats, especially when it comes to that gender. You see that big lead for the women. Both 56% for mail-in and early person votes cast and the mail-in ballots requested. And you see that both have 43% for men, so not good for the Republicans, especially when women are usually, most of the time, Democrat voters. Not all of them are, but a lot of them are. But anyways, getting back to the polls here, like I was saying, Pennsylvania, the polls for Pennsylvania have not been good for Kamala Harris, but there have been some other polls in the swing states that have been going in the wrong direction for Donald Trump. As you can see, Wisconsin and Michigan, Kamala Harris now leads Wisconsin and Michigan by a point. She previously did not earlier. I don't think she was yesterday in my other video. Do that. She now leads almost a point, 0.8%. She now leads by 0.8%. And I guess you can make the argument that, sure, months ago, she had, look at that strong lead in August, 3 points. However, Donald Trump was really gaining on her, 0.6. But now she is almost up by a point. She is really expanding her lead in this polling. So not good for Donald Trump, not good for Donald Trump at all. And it's not just Wisconsin, like I talked earlier. We also have Michigan, which is also going away from Donald Trump. She now, on 538, has a 1.1 percentage lead against Donald Trump. Donald Trump has fallen from 40, look at that, he has dropped below 47%. On the 538 polling average for Michigan, Kamala Harris is up at 48%, and she now has a 1-point lead against Donald Trump. Not good if you want to beat Donald Trump. However, what I told you yesterday is that these polls are so close, it could easily swing the other way. And you're probably asking, then why am I talking about all these polls that are going bad for Donald Trump? Well, there's been a lot of polls that have been swinging back in Donald Trump's favor in the past couple weeks, and now we're seeing the quite opposite. So if the Republicans are going to try and say that the polls are in Donald Trump's favor, that's just not correct. As you can see on 538, we can even look at Real Clear Politics, which I've showed you multiple times. Kamala Harris now leading Donald Trump on the Michigan polling average. However, the same can't be seen for Pennsylvania. But if we're being fair here, there have been a lot of Republican partisan pollsters that have really been helping out Donald Trump, swinging this average. As you can see, Kamala Harris was leading in the Pennsylvania average, and Donald Trump took it over, and he now leads by over half a point, 0.8%. So not good for Kamala Harris. But like I said earlier, you still have all these Republican partisan polls that are helping out Donald Trump. Quinnipiac, I believe one of them, Atlas, Trafalgar. Trafalgar's you see that our Republican partisan pollster Rasmussen. I believe Rasmussen released their final polls yesterday, so I don't expect to see any more polls for them in these next 5 days of this campaign. But anyways, yeah, Pennsylvania, very good for Donald Trump, despite these Republican partisan pollsters really flooding the polls for Donald Trump, which hasn't even got him up to a point. If you look here, Kamala Harris did lead by a point multiple times, and yet Donald Trump has not. Although he could, by when November gets here, when it's November 2024, he could be leading by that point. And you saw that Kamala Harris really, in this polling, is proving to be a way better candidate than Joe Biden was. Clearly, if you look here, he was leading Pennsylvania even before that disastrous debate performance in November or June of 2024. And then when that did happen, you just saw Biden collapse, and Trump just surged. Biden collapsed and Trump surged, and then when Kamala Harris got in the game, everything went downhill since there for Donald Trump. In the polling average for Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris surged, Donald Trump fell. It was an even match, but now Donald Trump leads Kamala Harris by over almost a point. Still, like I said in the other state, that's still barely nothing. It's really not a lead to be celebrating, and it can easily go the other way for Kamala Harris. And I still do believe, looking at the early voting data for Pennsylvania, that Kamala Harris and the Democrats really do have the advantage here, especially because the early voting usually favors Democrats almost always. We saw that in 2020 when Joe Biden won Pennsylvania, when he won Michigan, when he won Wisconsin, and when he won every single swing state, including Georgia, well, except for North Carolina. But still, that hasn't gone Republican in years. But I do believe it will go, I'm sorry, it hasn't gone Democrat in years, but I do believe it will go Democrat this time around. However, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm not surprised. Not every prediction will be 100% accurate, and most of them are inaccurate. It's predictions, they're meant to be wrong, and if mine are wrong, I'm not surprised. But anyways, we see these polls going away from Donald Trump, and I do expect Donald Trump to lose Pennsylvania, as I told you before, especially because we have seen Donald Trump not exactly confident here. He's not been. If you see here, Trump stokes voter fraud fears in Pennsylvania as counties investigate and state urges patience. So Donald Trump is not exactly confident here when it comes down to Pennsylvania. Former President Donald Trump on Tuesday claimed 2 Pennsylvania counties are experiencing voter fraud, despite both officials there maintaining they're still investigating potential issues related to voter registration applications. So, there really isn't, when it comes down to the possibilities of voter fraud, there really isn't any evidence there, and Donald Trump is just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks, and I promise you, it is not sticking. There is no voter fraud in Pennsylvania, and we are seeing it. We are not seeing any voter fraud. What we are seeing is what I showed you before, Democrats surging in this early voting, especially with women, and just the party registration. You see Democrats just dominating the Republicans in Pennsylvania. Sure, Republicans are slowly climbing up the ladder, but I do not believe it will be enough when it comes to Election Day. And the only possible thing that could save Donald Trump coming Election Day is probably the Election Day vote, because the Election Day vote usually favors Republicans. Most Republicans vote on Election Day. However, I am seeing a lot more of them vote on are voting early, as they realized from 2020 that actually helps out. That helps out the Democrats, so they're trying to use that, and maybe that'll help out them. But I do not think it's going to work, and I do believe that Donald Trump will lose Pennsylvania. And I told you before, if Donald Trump loses Pennsylvania, he's going to lose Michigan, he's going to lose Wisconsin, and that will be the game. Kamala Harris will be the next president of the United States. So we're seeing all these states just go away from Donald Trump. He's losing them all, and it's looking really bad. And I do believe he's going to lose all those three states that are crucial for either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris to win. And when he does lose them, I do expect him to claim fraud, as this news article from CNN about Pennsylvania, a possible voter fraud, which obviously isn't true, but this claim, even though it is the first one, I do expect as we get into November tomorrow that there's going to be a lot more as the election comes closer and closer, and as the results come in. I do expect Donald Trump and his allies to claim that fraud is happening when there is no fraud, at all. So yeah, so these states just going away from Donald Trump, and the voter fraud claims just show that Donald Trump is not confident to win Pennsylvania, and Republicans seem worried, as Democrats are expected to keep that Senate race in Pennsylvania with Bob Casey, and Kamala Harris is probably set to win Pennsylvania at this point. So yeah. But anyways, that is the video for today. If you guys enjoyed watching, please consider leaving a like and subscribing and following me on Twitter @VoteBreakdown, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.